Hi, I'm Dale, and I'm also known as the word alchemist. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about one of the most powerful tools that I know for healing, clarity, and coming home to yourself. And that's writing. And it's not the kind of writing that needs to be polished and perfect and presented to anyone else. It's the kind of writing that is raw, real, and just for you. I am a long-term journaler. I don't remember when I started, but it's something that I do. I'm not going to say every day, but pretty much every day I write in my journal. Now, I can tell you so many stories about how journaling has helped me to find clarity, but actually, there's several biggest, but I'm going to tell you the one about my spine fracturing. So in 2018, I just got out of the shower. I was actually feeling on top of the world, and I was leaning over the bed, picking up some clothes because one always keeps one's washing on the spare bed. Um, don't tell my mum. And I heard these three loud cracks, and I was in absolute agony. And it transpired that I had severe osteoporosis, which I didn't know about. And I had, so what happens with osteoporosis when you have fractures is, let's say your vertebrae is like that, well, it becomes a wedge because it collapses. Um, and it's painful. I found myself, I've never been in so much. I've fractured ribs and I've fallen over and done all sorts of things in my life, just as many people have, but I've never felt such pain. And it was not only physical pain, but then it led to emotional pain because I was angry. And I remember ringing the healthcare company and they said, you need to call an ambulance. And I was thinking, I've got three dogs. And anyway, hospitals are for sick people. I remember distinctly saying to the lovely lady on the phone, I'm not calling an ambulance. Hospitals are for sick people. And then for 6 months, I, I just found it so hard to walk. It was one of the worst periods of my life. But despite the fact that I spent time in bed, the first 4 days I took whatever drugs the doctors gave me, and then I thought, I'm not doing this. I'm not taking drugs. I will I will heal naturally and I will control the pain with my mind. And I tell you what, it was not easy. Um, and I remember lying in bed and thinking, I need to write, I need to write. Like, where's my journal? And someone had been to stay with me recently and bought me a beautiful journal over from the UK, and it was downstairs. And I thought, how am I going to get out of bed? And I thought, well, I bloody well am. I'm going to get out of bed and I go downstairs and I'm going to get my journal and I'm going to write in it. And the other thing I did is I collected all of I have lots and lots of books on healing and nutrition and energy medicine and crystal therapy and all sorts of stuff. So there was me in my bed, my journal, this big pile of books and my dogs. And I wrote. That's all I did is I studied and I wrote. And there were times that I would wake up in the night and I didn't want to be here. And the only way I can describe my writing is I screamed all my agony and all my trauma into my journal just to get it out, just so that I could go back to sleep. But what my journal also became was a place of like discovery. I discovered who I was, my courage, my resilience, this fantastic brain, because I studied those nutrition books and thought, right, well, I'm going to work out how I heal this. And I didn't have just osteoporosis, I had a whole lot of other things. And I worked out which one I needed to heal first to be able to let the next thing heal. And so my journal became a place of, release, of, um, of exploration, of exasperation, but it helped me get through a really, really dreadful time. And it's helped me lots and lots of times. So I think that for me, writing is exceptionally healing. It is, like I said, it's more than words on a page. It's a release. I can tell you it's a release. You know, when you've something's happened and you just think you just need to get this out. And it's a reckoning, but it's also a remembering of who you are beneath the noise. So when I go back to the osteoporosis story, it's remembering who I was, what skills I had, what kind of person I was beneath the noise of the pain and the dis-ease and all those things going on. And I think that when we write honestly, without editing or censoring, we let out things we didn't even know that we were holding in. Because when I look at osteoporosis, for example, I see it as a breaking down of the very foundations that I thought were holding me up. And there was a lot of emotional crap inside of all of that. So the journal gives our emotions a safe place to land. We move that stuck energy and we witness ourselves. And that is so bloody powerful, you know, because when we're in a bad place, we don't need to be fixed. We need to be heard. So when I had osteoporosis, I needed to listen to my body. I needed to listen to my emotions. You know, I often meet people and I can tell that what they are yearning for is just to be heard. But the person who needs to hear most is ourselves. So I want to offer you a very gentle journaling prompt, nothing complicated. It's just a doorway back to yourselves. You can write in your journal. You could write on the back. I'm not going to say backpack it. That's a very old saying. Back of an envelope. You could use the notes app on your phone. You know, whatever feels right for you in the moment. And so here's the prompt. Right now, I want to say this to myself. No censoring. Just let the words come. Let them ramble, scribble. Let them be raw and messy, because there's absolutely no right way to do this. Right now, I want to say this to myself. What is it you want to say to yourself? You might just want to tell yourself that you love yourself. Or you might want to say to yourself, come on, woman, pick yourself up by your boots and go and do X, Y, Z. There will be something. Now, here's the thing about journaling when you've been given a prompt. You might be sat there going, I don't know what to write, the words won't come. So I always say, write the mundane and the magic will come. So, got your journal, write the question down. So if you're finding that you're really stuck, so one of the things you can do is a lovely, just breathe, you know, count in for 4, count out for 4, or count in for 4, hold for 2, breathe out for 6. But just kind of ground and center yourself through your breath, and then, like I say, let those words come. Now, if you are struggling, you write the mundane and then the magic comes. What do I mean by mundane? So I could write, I got up this morning and made myself a pot of coffee, ate some toast, and gave half my toast to my dogs. And you just keep writing like this utter rubbish, and all of a sudden, it's like whatever needs to come out will find its exit. So, you know, whatever it is, maybe, you know, something kind to yourself, maybe it's something you're holding in and it needs to come out, baby. And maybe it's something you didn't even know needed to be said. It will appear on those pages. Okay, so the thing that I love about writing to heal, it's not about having the answers. It's about creating space, space to feel, space to breathe, and to remember your voice. Your voice matters, even when it's shaking, even when it doesn't want to express itself. Yeah. So try that prompt today, and I would love to hear what has come up for you. If you feel comfortable to share, you do not have to say a word to anybody, and you may decide that what you want to do is burn it and then let that energy of what you've written go up into the universe. But if there's any kind of comments that you've got, I would love to hear them. So if you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. And I'm going to be sharing more prompts and reflections and guidance and whatever else to reconnect you with your wild, wise self. So lots of love and have a really beautiful day.